Okay. Okay. It's just getting set up,
Yeah, all good.
preparing live stream. I don't know why this always takes so long. All right. Okay. Who doesn't love fresh opportunities in the morning? I'm super excited to be doing this Ask an Expert interview with my good friend Ryan McNish. And I'm going to actually just make sure that we're live in the group because we had a number of people that wanted to see this. And if you're watching this and you're from Alberta, if you have family in Alberta, tag everybody you know. I am going to put the contact form in this right away because I know there's going to be some people interested in this. So just let me grab the form really quickly and we're going to get started. I'm super, super excited for this announcement. And you're all going to want to hear this. So, where's the form? Where's the form? 1 second, 1 second. Gotta make sure we got everything ready. Okay, so I am super excited to be bringing this to our network. This is a huge opportunity for us to partner and work directly with Ryan. And I'm going to let him share more about what it is that we're about to launch in Alberta. Again, anybody that's watching this, if you have a family member, a friend, a relative, anybody you know that is interested in what we have to say, there is a contact form. Please fill out the survey, fill out the questionnaire, and one of his team are going to contact you. So, without any further ado, I would love to introduce Ryan. He's going to share exactly what we have going on. And I'm really, really excited for this opportunity to be working with you and introduce this to the community. This is an opportunity for people to save money, people to make money. And, I love this type of partnering with people like you. So thank you for bringing this to our community. I think, this will just add more value to what we already have going on. And Ryan, please introduce yourself and let's talk a little
Perfect.
bit about it.
Yeah, awesome. How's everyone doing? My name is Ryan McNish. Obviously, I work with Mag Solar. The biggest thing today, guys, I just want to explain to you, like this isn't a sales pitch. It's just sharing information, really, right? So if you're interested in the stuff I'm talking about, that's cool. If it's not for you, hey, that's cool too, right? The biggest thing is I just kind of want to share information, a little bit about solar, a little bit about our power company. And I think, especially if you live in Alberta, now this is Alberta exclusive, just the way it works. So if you live in Alberta, this is really going to be a no-brainer for you. But I'm going to kind of go through the Coles notes. One, what's going on in the community now? I know most people when they start talking about electricity and they start talking about solar, it's not something they're super passionate about. They get super, wow, finally we're talking about solar, right? So no worries, no worries. But if you understood it a little bit better, and I was in the exact same position everybody else is on this call. Before I got involved with solar, I didn't understand it. I just, I had a basic knowledge. Okay, some people put panels on their roof and then it does something, maybe lowers your bills a little bit, right? Well, everything changed in Alberta in 2021. That's when the Alberta government really got behind it. But before we get too far in it, I'll just kind of share some stats with you, some numbers, just so you kind of know like the background of why solar makes so much sense, and obviously everything we're going to be talking about today. So just simply global news just put out like everything that I'm talking about. It's about a 5-second Google search. You guys can all do this as well. So all the information, even though I'm going to say it, I say always do your own research to verify everything. So first things first, power in Alberta has gone up 119.9% in the last 18 months. I'm sure everybody's seen that. Bills have exploded, right? There was a time where everyone's power bill was essentially one of the lowest bills in the household. Well, it steadily increased, steadily increased, steadily increased. And most of the time when I'm sitting down with a family, it's just like, where did these bills come from, right? So understanding that they've over doubled in the last 18 months, that's a big part of it, right? That's what's leading a lot of people to start researching, because nobody ever really thought about power before, right? They never thought about solar. So that was kind of like the big thing where really people started to understand. Now, Here's the crazy part, right? And I'm just kind of explain it to you. So in essentially in Alberta, we'll call it three big providers. So Epcor kind of runs all of Edmonton, Enmax kind of runs all of Calgary, Fortis and Atco essentially run the rest of the province. Now there's 70 different providers that work with those utility companies, but those are the guys that kind of own the lines, right? So just simply a quick Google search, and you can kind of jump on. I just want to see where all this money is going, essentially, right? So if you just Google how much debt is Epcor in, it's going to bring up some pretty crazy stats. So in 2021, Epcor was in essentially $4 billion worth of debt. Now in 2022, it was 4.5. So they put $500 million on their debt, right? That's a big number. Just so you know, that's a real big number. And then in 2023, it was $4.7 billion. So Epcor, right? Remember, they own all the lines in Alberta, is putting on hundreds of millions of dollars worth of debt. That's a lot, right?
How
That's
do
a lot,
they
especially
have
for
so
a
much
company.
debt when everybody pays their bills that are outrageous?
Yeah.
I don't get that. What are they spending their money on, you know?
Great question. That's a great question, right? So, and you think, this is a huge company. They have so many
No, he froze.
possibly be going into debt, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So they're going into debt. So obviously, if they're going into debt, they're not making any money. They can't possibly be making money, right? Another quick Google search. So remember, they went from 4 billion to 4.5 to 4.7. Then you just research, well, hey, quick Google, how much money did they make? Well, in 2023, they net after all bills are paid, $361 million. So they put 500 million on their debt and they made 361, right? Now remember that net gets paid to the big boys and all their shareholders, right?
Right.
At the end of 2023, this is where everyone saw their bills double essentially, right? Which obviously made quite a few people upset. We'll say that, right? Now, in the next year, when everyone's bills doubled, remember, they still put hundreds of millions of dollars on their debt that they use as a tax write-off. They went from 361, doubled everyone's bills, up to $427 net.
That's insane.
It's just insane. I always you operated your household like that, what would happen? Well, I'd lose the house,
Right?
right? Right?
Exactly.
Exactly. So that's obviously a big reason. Just before we even start talking about solar, just understanding the market and kind of what's happening in the. So we have these huge corporations that are going more and more and more into debt. And just so you know, Epcor isn't alone in that. You can do the same research with Enmax. For anyone that's in BC, just Google how much debt BC Hydro is in. And remember, they have almost every location. It's $30 billion worth of debt. Like,
Wow.
it's
That's
crazy to me,
insane.
right? That's insane. So a lot of this debt is going in, right? And they're making these record quarterlies to pay out to their shareholders. Now, what ends up happening in these situations is you get somebody who runs a company for a year, 2 years, gets the big buyout. Like he doesn't worry about the debt. He takes his, $20-30 million buyout, and the new guy comes in. And it's this cyclical, this pattern that just keeps happening over and over. Now, there is going to be a time, right? And like it just is what it is. Sooner or later, that debt is going to have to get paid off. And I always ask people, now, when that time comes, who's paying the debt off?
We are.
Yeah, we are. Exactly. Right. We're going to be on the hook. So power historically goes up about 6 to 8% every year, but we've seen these huge spikes. And you would think with these huge spikes in power, the debt would be getting paid off, but it's a
Right.
complete opposite, right?
No, they're just
So,
creasing their pockets.
yeah. Yeah. So it's frustrating to say the least, right? So now that we understand the marketplace, let's talk essentially why does solar make sense for everybody, right? So what we try to do in solar is you have a bill right now. That bill, maybe $100 a month, maybe $200 a month, maybe $300 a month, depending on how much power you use. We essentially want to transition you away from the utility, and we want to move you to just a 0% solar panel payment, right? So this bill goes away. You essentially redirect your funds to a 0% loan. Now, if you came to me, Ryan, explain all this how solar works, how it all goes down, this is kind of what I'd be explaining to you, right?
Right.
So right now, I always say, right now, if you're with Epcor, which one of the other providers, you're essentially in a financially abusive relationship.
Right.
That bill shows up
You're
every
married to
month.
that bill.
Yeah. right? You don't know how much it's going to be. Once or twice a year, we call them the heart attack bills, where all of a sudden in February, bills doubled, and now you've got a $700 bill.
Right.
And if you tried to call these guys and say, I don't want to pay that, all you're going to get is like, no, that's what you owe. And if you don't like it, we'll cut the lights off, right?
Right.
So they really have us, right? And it's unfortunate. So this is, I always tell people, like, being in a position where you every single month and you have no say and you can't do anything about it. I literally cannot put you in a worse position than everyone is in right now. But it's just the way we've always done it. So we've never thought about doing it a different way.
Right.
Now, solar is an option B, right? First thing about solar, obviously, is that it doesn't make sense for every household. If you've got a lot of trees and stuff around your yard and they shade your roof, it's not going to make sense. But for 85 to 95% of the houses, solar's literally going to be an absolute like financial no-brainer. The biggest comment I get when I'm sitting down with families, we just kind of show them what they're doing with the utility and what the solar would be. And the best the story I like telling the most is I've got a good friend. When I sat down with him, he uses a lot of power, right? His power bill is $350 a month. So at the end of the day, we transitioned to a 0% loan where the payment stays the exact same for 10 years, and his bill was now $250. So my buddy Josh was looking at the numbers, and he's kind of analyzing because he's a big wig with not with Epcor, but with Suncor up north, right? He works in the oil field, and he was like, Ryan, like this isn't sales. Like this isn't sales. They're like, man, I just share information. If people want to take advantage of it, they're more than welcome. If they don't, that's super cool too, right? So first things first about solar. Now let's kind of get into the nitty gritty. When you put solar on your roof, obviously you're going to have, instead of having a power bill, you now have a loan, right? A loan to pay for your solar array. But that's a 0% loan through the federal government, right? If you've got a home, essentially you qualify for it. Like I say, no interest is paid. It's a 10-year buyback period. So however much your solar system is going to cost, divided by 120 payments, and that's your new payment, right? So the 0% loan is it's a really, really big reason why it makes so much sense. Literally 0% isn't anywhere anymore.
No.
There used to be a time, cars were 0%, mortgage rates were low. Those days are long gone, right? They're long gone. So first reason why solar makes sense is that loan through the federal government, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is where things get really focus in on and make sure they understand this, because this is a really big reason why solar makes sense. Now, in Alberta, like I say, this is Alberta exclusive. We're privatized when it comes to you can choose one of the 70 different power providers. So we play different games as opposed to BC, which is just BC Hydro. Yeah. Saskatchewan is just Sask Power, and Manitoba is Manitoba Hydro, right? So they have one entity you essentially use. Because we have options in Alberta, we get to play different games. So as soon as you put solar on your roof, right, everything changes. Now, when you put the panels on your roof, and I'm sure if you live in Alberta, you're starting to see solar pop up everywhere, right?
Yeah, I've seen it lots.
Yeah, yep, definitely. It's not quite mainstream yet, we'll say, but it's becoming more and more popular. In every neighborhood, you're going to see solar panels on someone's roof. And it's not because, everyone won the lottery or they got a big inheritance, right? It's just because financially solar makes sense. So as soon as you put panels on your roof, now whichever provider you're with, whether it be Epcor, NMAX, ATCO, Direct Energy, Park Power out in Sherwood Park, New Gen, there's a lot of different companies. You get essentially, you're able to get into something called the Solar Club, right? You become the partner with the Solar Club. And this is where things get really exciting. So there's a little bit of a loophole where if you generate power on your roof, everything changes. Now, right now, I would say the average that people are paying per kilowatt hour in Alberta is about 10-ish cents, right? 9, 10, 11, depending who you're with, depending when you locked in. So if you're paying 10 cents, like still not a bad rate comparatively, across Canada. Here's how it works with solar. When you generate that power on your roof and you send it back to the grid actually pays you 30 cents per kilowatt hour.
Just by putting solar on your roof, you're actually generating money?
Exactly. Exactly. Right. That's a big part of it. When I first heard that, I was like, there's no way that can be truthful. Right. Trust me, it is. Like I say, do your own research on the Solar Club. They'll explain everything. So essentially what happens is that, in Alberta, we get lots of sunshine, right? Where we're primed for sunshine. I think in Edmonton, we get 300 and it's like 21, 22 days of sunshine per year. Calgary might be 1 or 2 days more, but in Alberta, we get lots and lots of sunshine. So the big days, like obviously in the summertime, there's days that we have, 15, 14, 15, 16 hours of sunlight that would be beating down on those panels. Now, we'll call it from March-ish to September. What you do, just by having the panels up there, you're going to be generating more power than what you consume.
Right.
Everything at the 30 cents gets paid back to you, right? Now, you go from having a power bill from March to September to actually having a negative power bill. So it's a credit, right?
Wow.
So no more power bill, you're developing a credit. Because you're going to be producing so much overage and because it's paid to you at 30 cents, by the time, let's say you run your solar panels for March, April, May, June, July, August, September. At the end of September, you may have a financial credit, $1,500, $2,000, 25, like negative $2,500. And that's what your bill looks like, right? So at the end of September, obviously our days get a little bit shorter, right? Now, that credit you built up at 30 cents, through the winter, you buy back from yourself at 10 cents. So you built this huge credit at 30 cents. Now, in the winter, when we don't get as much sun, you essentially buy your credit back from yourself. Now, so October, November, December, January, February, right? Those months, you don't have a power bill because you're buying your credit back from yourself, right? Now, end of February, whatever is left over at the end of February, your power provider, whoever, like I say, whoever it may be, will actually just stroke you a check. They're not allowed to keep that credit for longer than a year.
Wow, that's so cool. That
So,
is like that literally blows my mind because not only number one, not only are you saving on your own power bill, number two, you're getting a credit which helps you cover the cost of your power, and you actually get a check back at the end of the year. Like that just is mind blowing. I don't know why anybody wouldn't want to have solar on
yeah,
the roof, literally.
yeah,
Um,
100,
so I got a couple
100%.
questions.
Yeah.
How easy is it for people to qualify for having solar on their roof?
Yeah.
And what type of homes, businesses, or farms are allowed to have the solar on their roof?
So the first question, who qualifies for it? Essentially, it works like with our company, it kind of works like this. As long as your roof gets sunlight, you qualify, right? It's going to
So
make
that's
sense.
pretty much everyone,
Yeah,
except if
pretty
it's
much
covered in
everybody.
trees.
Yeah. If there's a situation where, and we've had it before, where some of the older homes in really developed areas have the great big trees that hang over the houses, and the house doesn't get shade or doesn't get sunlight on the roof. We just let people know that unfortunately their house isn't a good fit for solar. If you're not making money, right, or even if you're leveling out, but generally you're going to be making money. If you're not leveling out or making money, solar doesn't make sense,
Could they
right?
put it on their
It's
garage instead?
Yeah, for sure. The garage, or you got somewhere else we can mount it. Like we need it. Let me
Right.
put it somewhere, right?
Put it on your farm roof.
Yeah, put it on the barn, right? We've done lots of
Right?
those too, right?
Totally. I mean that,
Yeah.
and do farms also qualify? I have a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
family that have farms in Alberta as well.
yeah, for sure. As long as like really the only stipulation is that as long as the roof is strong enough to carry the weight and the panels aren't very heavy. So if it's like a tin building, right, with no trusses or no trusses, we might have an issue. But like every house, right, like your houses are built to a certain grade. They're strong enough by far. Like I've got solar on my house, obviously, right, and it's just not a big deal. Now, if you could walk on your roof, and let's say you weigh 130, 140, 150 pounds, there's a lot of weight on your 2 feet. The solar panels are about 40 pounds, but they're spread wide out, right? So
Right.
it's not as much like PSI per point. So if you can walk on your roof, it'll be safe to put solar up there, right?
Awesome.
Yeah, so everybody qualifies for it. If you don't qualify for it, like I guess the biggest thing is if you really wanted solar, um, anyone could put solar on their roof. We won't do it if it's not financially feasible for
Of
you. Like if
course.
you're not saving money, which like I say, you're not a good fit. And it's funny, like in the past, I've had people when I tell them like, hey, your house just isn't a good fit for solar. Some people get really upset with me, right? Like,
Well, after learning about how much they
yeah,
can save and make, I would be too. I'd build a new roof for
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I literally would.
exactly. Yeah.
And then I have
So
another question too, which somebody
yeah.
already had asked me. What happens if you sell your home and the solar's on the roof? Can you transfer that to the new owners?
Yep. Yep. 100%. They just take it over the mortgage, right? So it happens obviously frequently. It's a 10-year payback period, right? So um, let's say you get to year 9 and there's a year left over, left on the loan, right? It just gets transferred to the new owners with the mortgage.
Man, I
But
wish we
there's
had.
one more thing I should tell.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I just want to let everyone know that there's actually there's a zero, there's a third thing we need to talk about. Just if you thought solar wasn't great enough, there's a third little ticket, right? So I got the 0% loan, I got the 3-to-1 buyback, and just so everyone's aware, the 3-to-1 buyback, the reason they do that is because that loophole allows these power companies to sell electricity back to the states. They sell it for 35 cents. So yeah, that's why they'll pay you 30. They're still making 35 cents on it, or making 5 cents
Awesome.
per kilowatt hour. So now the last thing, this is it's unique, and some people they don't like it, but it just is what it is. Now everybody knows what carbon tax is, right? And everyone
Yep.
loves it.
Yeah, in Vancouver, we were getting shafted with it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly, right. So carbon tax. Now everyone knows about it, right? The opposite to carbon tax is carbon credits, right? We've kind of heard that term. People aren't very familiar with it. What are these credits? Where do they come from? So when it comes to solar, nothing changes in your household. Absolutely nothing, right? But as soon as you put solar up on your roof, you now become a green energy home. You inherently qualify for carbon credits. So if we do, an average, like the average homeowner in Alberta uses between, 7,500 and 8,200 kilowatt hours a year. So that would mean we're putting about a 9 kilowatt system solar array on your roof. Because you have that on your roof, you now qualify for a secondary annual check. So
What?
if, yeah, oh yeah.
I love
So
this.
I
This is
know.
the best. I love, you know, anybody that's watching this, if you own a home, if you own a barn, if you
Yeah,
own a shed, I mean,
yeah.
this is a pretty huge opportunity for anybody that is in Alberta. If you have family,
Yeah.
please tag them in this video. This video is public. You can share this. I
Yeah.
will put the YouTube up on our YouTube channel so you can
Mhm.
share this with all of your friends and family. Ryan will definitely and his team will reach out to you to do a quote.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
this is huge.
Free of charge, obviously, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And I mean, what about commercial buildings?
Yep. Yep. For sure. For sure.
If they own the building.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I'll just cut back to the last. An average person in Alberta with the carbon credits is going to get a check for about, like, it's not a huge amount of money, but about 300, 350-ish. It depends on how many panels you have, which is determined by how much power you use annually. So you get that check. Now, commercially, like we've done hockey arenas, we've done churches, we've done, like I say, big farms. There's very few times, and I mean very few times, that solar isn't going to make sense as long as the property gets sun on the roof, right? That's kind of, we call it the TSN turning point. If you get sun, it's going to make sense, right?
Wow.
Now the panels they're warranted for 25 years, a production warranty. The longest study we have right now is coming out of France, where the old stuff, and we use all the, the top of the line equipment, all the brand new stuff. The old stuff, after 50 years, is still generating at about 70% efficiency. So even after 50 years, like I always tell people, once these go on your roof, like they're
You're
never coming off.
yeah. They go with the house when you sell it. And then you pass on that to the amazing new owners.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And
That
that
is
brings up a great,
that's amazing.
Kelly. Yeah, that's a great point, right? So not only are you reducing, money that's coming out of the household, you're reducing your bills. Here's the other thing: everyone on this chat is a consumer. I buy stuff. We all buy stuff. Now, if you're a consumer, and let's pretend I'm looking at two identical houses, right? Everything is, the carpet's the exact same, the drapes are the exact same, the doors are painted the same color. House A does not have solar, and it has a $300 bill that I know is going to go up by 6 to 8% every year for the next 20 years I'm in this household.
Mhm.
House B has solar and pays you $500 a year forever, right? Would you pay more for the home that pays you $500 a year as opposed to the home that you've got to pay, $3, $4, $5,000 in utilities every year? It's really
Absolutely.
a no brainer, right?
Right. Now,
So
what about realtors? Could we connect with some of our realtors that are in our community and offer this as a sweetener to the deal of them selling houses as well?
for sure. Yeah. Like
If
here's the
you're a
thing.
realtor in Alberta,
Yeah,
here's a new tip for you, okay? This is
yeah.
the deal.
Yeah, it's funny because I've obviously spoken with a lot of realtors, and like solar isn't new, but it's like I say, it's starting to become mainstream. I've had to have these conversations on how solar works with many realtors. Some of them understood it. If the real estate agent understands it completely, it's a no brainer. If they think like most of us, like even I did a couple of years ago, well, just solar doesn't really do too much, and we have a chance to educate them. Like even my realtor, when I bought my last house, I was talking about solar. He was like, it can't work like that. And I was like, I know, it's exactly what I said. Right.
Man,
And
this would be really good for developers too.
100%.
Now my brain's
They're
like, who do I
exploding.
know? Who do I know? Who's in our
Yeah.
network?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Right?
Right.
I mean, this
So,
is a huge opportunity to be working with you and to add value to our community. Not
yeah.
only are they going to save money, they're also going to make money. And it's just this is incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
I wish we had this in British Columbia. I have so many people that live in Lake Country. I see Stephanie's watching this too.
Yeah.
She gets lots of sun. She wants it on her roof. She's commenting
Yeah.
on the post. Is there any future plans for it to go to other provinces as well, or is it just right now strictly Alberta because of the
Yeah.
monopoly?
Like, so yeah, great question. I appreciate you asking that. So we actually have offices in BC. So we're in Vancouver, Kelowna, Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg. We just opened up in Halifax. Every location can make sense for solar. Now, here's the difference. Now, remember in Alberta, there's that 3-to-1 buyback. If you're in BC, it's a 1-to-1 buyback. So you're probably paying, I think, about 14 and a half cents is what BC Hydro's charging. So you get paid back 14 and a half cents. Still better than nothing, but Alberta's obviously the king, right?
Right.
If you live in Saskatchewan, it's a little bit. I've tried to make it make sense in Saskatchewan a couple times. So remember, in Alberta, it's a 3-to-1 buyback. In BC, it is a 1-to-1 buyback. In Saskatchewan, it's a 50 cents on the dollar buyback. So if you're paying 14 cents per kilowatt, Sask Power will only pay you 7.
Oh, wow.
So it just takes a way longer time for your ROI, maybe 20 years, where in Alberta, you're probably saving money within the first year, right? So
So if somebody in BC wanted to switch to solar, that is an opportunity for them
for
as
sure,
well.
for sure. And like like I say, it depends on kind of so a couple different things, like where your house sits. Essentially, does it get lots of sun? And the other thing that will affect it. So if you can imagine how the sun tracks, right, every day.
Yeah.
If you've got a large portion of the sides of your roof facing, south, we'll call it, right, you're going to get more sun. If your house is pointed north
It
south
just
and it's
depends
east
on the
west,
city.
you may not get as much. But like it's worth looking into for everybody. It's worth looking into. If it makes sense, you're more than welcome to do it. If you've got a household that doesn't make sense for whatever reason, then hey, at least you know now,
Well,
right?
hey, if it makes sense, it could make you dollars. Who knows?
Exactly. So
Awesome.
yeah,
So I wanted to say, thank you for bringing this to our community. I mean,
yeah,
this is our first partnership in this category. I know we have mostly
yeah,
beauty and health, but we want to also allow other businesses like yourself add value to the community,
for sure.
educate our
Appreciate it.
members, teach them how they can save money, introducing solar to their homes,
Yep.
businesses, barns,
Yeah.
farms, whatever. If you have a roof, contact Ryan. If
Yeah.
it gets sun, contact Ryan. If you
Mhm.
want to learn more, contact Ryan.
Yeah.
And I can't
Yeah.
stress this enough because, the way that the world and the way things are going right now, people are trying to learn how to save money. They're trying to learn how to make money. And
Yeah.
it's a big opportunity. So if somebody were to qualify and get solar on their roof with you, could they also introduce their friends and family to get solar on their roof? And how would that
For
work?
sure. Yeah, for sure. For sure. So we do a referral, right? Obviously referrals to everybody. Like I come from an MLM background, right? So I
Woo!
understand it. Yeah. Woo.
That's
Hey,
why we
what?
get along
Hey,
so
what?
good.
Yeah. Yeah. Like here's the biggest thing. So we can dump hundreds of thousands of dollars on Facebook advertising, TikTok advertising, but we get carpet bombed all day right, on social media with advertising.
Yeah.
The best form of advertising we can ever get is somebody who's dealt with our company and saying, hey, I had a really good experience with this guy, with these guys, right? And we went from paying XYZ to now making XYZ.
Right.
It's a very simple, hey, you know what? I say everyone should look into it. Like, why would you look? It's free to look into it. It's free to get your design done. Take a peek, see if it makes sense for you or not,
Right.
right?
And
So,
that's what I love is our whole community is based on referrals.
yeah,
It's based on giving back to the community, educating the community, allowing
yeah,
people to send clients to other businesses and, make a referral. And that's the whole program, our platform. That's what we're all about. And that's
mm-hmm.
why, I wanted to give a shout out to Laura Lee for introducing us as well. Thank you so much. We
Thanks, Lori.
already have partners in Alberta that are looking into working with Ryan. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of things coming down the line. And I wanted to
Yeah,
say, number one, thank you for allowing us to participate.
yeah,
Number two, thank you for adding value to the community. Thank you for saving people money and helping them make
yeah,
money. And I look forward to learning more. Inside of our Facebook group, please feel free to, educate, make posts, share different things that,
mm-hmm.
can have value and people can learn
Yeah,
about. Anything that you put out there into the world, please feel free to share it inside of our community. And again, if you're watching this, we do have a form that I've put into this chat. So if you would like to get a quote or if you want to pass it on to a family member, please just make sure that, you say that you saw Callie's video or you learned
yeah,
about it through the referral network so he knows where the referral's coming from. I'm sure
exactly.
in the form that Laura Lee created, it also does say that as well. But we want to honor the referral network and
Yeah,
honor where the referrals coming from, just
mm-hmm.
because that's how we operate. And I wanted to say again, Ryan, thank you so much for your
Yeah,
time. I see a beautiful relationship and a
yeah,
beautiful friendship starting here,
definitely, Kelly.
and lots of business to be made, lots
Yeah,
of fun down the line. And I just wanted to say thanks again for your time. Thanks
yeah,
for educating and introducing solar into our
no worries.
referral network. Like this is a
Appreciate
huge
it.
opportunity for anybody that owns a home or business in Alberta. So I wanted to say thank you so much. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, Stephanie, fill it out anyways and see if
yeah.
you know what it's like for BC.
Did you want to talk about? Did you want to talk about our utility company as well, quickly?
Yeah, let's go for it. I mean,
Perfect.
why
So
not?
we're here now. We might as well, right?
Right. Kill
So
two birds with one stone. We got more deals to bring to the table.
so this is something I'm really excited about now. So obviously solar, like our company does a bunch of different stuff. Solar is obviously a big part of it. We do permanent LED lighting for your homes. We have a roofing division. We do home security. So we kind of got our hands on a bunch of different pots. Now, this is actually the first time talking about it to a group this size. So you guys are on the cutting edge, the very front of the line, right? This is very exciting. And just so you know, like I come from an MLO background, right? So that's the way my mind thinks. There's opportunities here. So the stuff that we talked about at the beginning of solar, how much the power bills have gone up, how much money these guys are making, essentially off of our backs, right?
Right.
Me and my partners decided that there's got to be a better way to do this, and so opening up a utility company for electricity and for natural gas. Just so you know, there isn't a business that's got more regular. Maybe finance has more regulations, like to open up a bank. But outside of that, opening up a utility company is not easy. Like
No.
lots of stuff going back, lawyer to lawyer to lawyer to lawyer. And you get scrutinized so heavily, right? Because there's so much involved. So we've been working on this for about a year and a half, and it's coming to fruition. We're literally weeks away from it going live. Right now, nothing's ever been really done like this before. The utility company, like I say, your EPCORs, your Max, they're very old school in how they operate. Right? We wanted to change the game a little bit. So here's what we're doing. We essentially have opened up our own utility company. It's going to be going live. I'll get you all the details once we go live. And we're going to run it essentially like an MLM. So
I'm
and
in.
that's what I'm talking about, right? So
Do I need to buy a place? Do we need to buy a head office in Alberta?
yeah, yeah. The only caveat, and I apologize if you're in BC, we're not allowed to operate in BC. We're only allowed to operate in Alberta. So the only caveat is that you have a utility bill, right? Gas or electricity. Obviously, we'll be providing both. I'd like you to take advantage of both. So here's how it works. Now, when you look at your bill and you're in Alberta, your consumption, right, of what you use for power is usually only about 10 to 20% of your entire bill, right? Distribution fees, admin fees. I call them
It's all
BS
fees.
fees, right? All fees, right?
My when I look
So
at my bill, it's insane. It's all fees and then a small power bill, and it's like everything else is
yeah,
fees and carbon tax.
yeah, exactly. So a lot of these companies out there, like they're making the money on the fees, right? Your bills went up. When we talked about bills going up 120% in Alberta, it costs so much more to generate electricity. The actual price of electricity, it's all the extra fees they started tacking on. And those fees are 100% profit, right? If you go to you got a new fee, admin fee or distribution fee, it's 100% profit. So we decided we didn't want to play the game the same way that the other guys are playing them. We're opening up our own utility. Now, our utility, there are fees that we are charged from the municipality, right? But we don't mark any of those up. The municipality fees, the distribution fees, and those are out of our control, but we don't mark them up. So we're going to have no markups on all the distribution fees, all those fees, and we're going to be charging just a small. We'll get the exact numbers down. Just a small overage on just the electricity. So we're essentially our company is only going to make a small portion on the electricity, really nothing on the fees. So with that being said, like obviously the bill should come down. Now, when we were talking about how we're going to market this, like I say, we could spend hundreds of thousands of dollars day one in Facebook, TikTok, right? The biggest opportunity for us is word of mouth. That's how you, like the best way to do business, and everyone here knows that, right?
Right.
So now the way it's going to work is like I'll unveil the compensation plan and everything after. But if you are a member with our company and you refer someone, right? Obviously they'll use your QR code or your member code, and you'll actually get a percentage of their bill every single month for
Oh,
life.
I'm
For
gonna
life.
kill it at this because I used to sell energy and everything, and when I was in ACN, man,
Yeah,
this is bringing me back like
yeah,
way back. I
yeah,
used to have like yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, I know so many
yeah.
people for this.
Yeah, 100%. So we're really excited. Um we think it's going to be out like solar is amazing, right? And just the second part of it is that even if we can lower, and obviously our company will be part of the solar club as well with that 3-to-1 buyback. So I've thought about what would be the biggest benefit to people. First things first, lower your bills, right? Be in have the opportunity to still play in the solar club if you have solar. But the neat thing about the utility is that it's open to everybody. It's open to owners. It's open to renters. It's open to essentially if you're in a house and it's got an electricity or gas bill, you're our clientele, and that's
Wow.
everyone's down. Their brains working. Like there's hundreds of people that already.
Right.
I think
So
they
I just
yeah
wanted to say, so anybody that's just get watching this, oh, somebody's like, I was in ACN also. That's funny.
yeah
So anybody that's watching this, so if you are a renter and you may not qualify for solar, so
yeah
if you're a home owner or you own the building, own the farm, own whatever, then there's a great opportunity for you to, t work with Ryan and actually get solar on your house. But
yeah
what he just said is the key thing here with the utilities. Every single person that pays a bill qualifies, and that's what I love.
yeah
Like if you have power, you qualify.
yeah
If you turn your lights on, you qualify.
yeah
If you
exactly
run your water, you qualify.
exactly right
So that's really great because that really
yeah
just opens up the spectrum to allow every single person to not only save money but also make money and refer their friends as
100%.
well, right?
Yeah, 100%. And like, even if we didn't do an MLM strategy, which I think it makes the most sense, we would still be able to lower everyone's bills just because these guys are. I don't want to call them greedy or anything because it's just business, right? They're charging what the market will let them charge, but we're going to come in essentially at wholesale prices. So even if you decide not to refer people to our business, no problem. You can still save money using our utility company, right? But if you decide to refer people, it's not going to take long for you to build a big business. And now remember, the residuals you get paid every time somebody pays their utility bill, which is usually one of the bills people pay first, you're going to get a percentage of that, right?
Awesome. We're in.
Put me in,
I'm
coach.
moving
I'm
back
ready.
to Alberta. Well, the good
Uh,
thing is, we have a lot of members. we have a lot of members in Alberta. We have a lot of members with big networks in Alberta as well. And
Sure.
most of my business, actually, quite a few of my business partners, and some of them are actually watching this, are fired up and really excited. I
Yeah,
can see them all chatting
perfect.
on this
Yeah,
on this feed. So
yeah,
again, let's just recap. Let's
yeah.
just do a quick recap. So
Okay.
anybody that wants to get a quote for solar, they can reach out. There's a
Yeah.
form to fill out. Do you have anything else that you'd like to say in closing?
I guess here's what I would say, guys. The reality is, when it comes to solar, the federal government is behind it. Your current provider is not doing anybody any favors. We're with option A right now. Let's take a peek at option B. See if it makes sense. If it makes sense, I always say if the money makes sense, it makes sense. If the money
Right.
doesn't make sense, well, it doesn't. Solar on the utility company side, all I can say is start making your list right now, because when we go live, like I said, this is the first time talking about it in a public domain. People that are in front of the line, this is our company is going to be a major market disruptor because
Right.
we don't have the big fees. We're not charging high amounts. We don't have a whole lot. Well, we really have no overhead, right? Like next to none. We've got our support line and stuff, but we lease the lines essentially from the providers, Upcore and Max, and we can sell the utility to you cheaper than what they're currently selling it to you. So put your list down. When we go live, I'll make sure Callie's one of the first people that knows, and then it's off to the races, guys. It's really off to the
I
races,
mean,
right?
it's going to be incredible. Obviously, Ryan is now part of our referral network. He
Yeah.
will have a profile up on our website as well. And he'll be able to educate you on what's the best decision for you, your family,
Mhm.
and your future when
Yeah.
it comes to having solar energy. Also, saving money on your utility bills. This is so exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
almost all my family's in Alberta. So I'm excited to introduce this to them.
Yeah.
Maybe we can even put solar on the Panoka Stampede roof.
For sure. Let's do it.
I'm like, that's how I think. I'm like, okay, who do I know? Who do I know? I'm
Yeah.
already thinking of people in my head that I can introduce this to. We have some pretty big networkers that are in Alberta as well that are watching this. So I'm really
Yeah.
excited to see where this goes.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have this opportunity to work directly with you, Ryan. You're an
Yeah.
outstanding human being. And we
I
just,
appreciate that.
we hit it off from the very beginning. I
Yeah.
wanted to say again, thank you, Laura Lee, for this introduction.
Yeah. Appreciate
This
it.
is a huge added value to our community. Again, we are a beauty and health referral network, but I mean, we invite and want to include everybody because business services, home services, health and wellness, beauty, travel, everything, it's all a whole, right? You
Yeah.
you want
Yeah.
to
Definitely.
add value to the community, and we don't want to leave anybody behind. Whatever business that you're in, is allowed to be part of this network as long as it's legal. And as long as you're willing to offer the services and pay out a referral, you
Yeah.
can sign up. You can be part of our amazing community. You can share
Yeah.
Ryan's services with your friends and family, and you can also earn a referral as well. And
For sure.
that's the type of people that we want to have partnered with in our network. And I just wanted
Yeah.
to say thank you. Thank you for your time
Yeah.
today.
Thank you. I appreciate everything. But like I say,
And
pleasure meeting you. You're
yeah,
such an incredible gal, right? Like
thank
it's
you.
been an honor to get to see you and kind of see what you're doing. I'm excited to watch. Just
Right.
watch what you're doing here. It's very exciting to me.
Yeah, and
And
that our whole program is on based on referrals and
yeah.
designing the compensation plan. Took me 5 years to get to this place, and we're about to launch. So I'm really excited. I
Yeah.
mean, I would also put in your calendar July 19th if you're available. You can come fly into our launch party, and you can actually share on stage a little bit more as well. We're gonna have people
Okay.
coming in from all over the world, so it should be pretty cool.
Awesome. I love it. I love
Awesome.
it.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody reach out to Ryan, fill out the form, and his team will contact you to get your quote. Have a good day,
Okay.
everyone.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Appreciate your time.